Hello, hello, hello. I hope we're all doing well. Let's see. The sound's working. How's the sound doing right now? Should be working. No? Ah, hang on. Yes, it is. It's definitely working. Now it is working. Very good. So here we are. Thanks for dropping by, friends. Saying hi. And for being interested in my podcast. It's 7:07 a.m. Saturday morning. I probably slept in a bit longer than I wanted to, which is why my schedule is slightly off, but I'm okay with that. I hope you are okay with that as well. We've got to keep it real if we want to get fit and healthy for longevity. That's what we're going to talk about today, and I hope that is a topic that you will find somewhat interesting and maybe worthwhile. For those of you who are watching and who don't know me, my name is Toby. I'm 41 years old and I train to live an active, self-sufficient and adventurous life. I do so by minding my sleep. I try to sleep 7 to 9 hours in a night. I do so by minding what I eat. I try to eat within my energy balance. I try to eat well, sufficiently. I try to eat lots of greens and vegetables to get all those micronutrients in, a wide variety of those in terms of fiber also. And I try to eat sufficient protein to meet my strength and muscle building goals, which means that I hit between 60 and 80 grams on a regular day and between 80 and 100 grams on a day that I am training with weights or training for strength, which is about 3 times a week. That is probably lower than what you hear most people talk about, but my goal is not to put on as much muscle as possible or to grow as big as possible. My goal is to support the recovery of my body and to build more lean mass slightly in favor of building soft tissue and fat through my lifestyle and my training program. So I hope that's clear. For longevity, I also am very vested in my relationship, my connections with my friends, family. I try to spend a lot of time with them. And I try to do things that I enjoy, hobbies, things that teach me something about myself, my skill, that force me to develop both physically and mentally, that teach me something new about life and living. And that is something that I would very much enjoy bringing to the table and to the conversation. So that's where we're at today. And we're going to talk about keeping it real when it comes to our health and fitness, because I think that we face a number of challenges. And one of the main challenges here is that there is a standard that has been set, that exists in the world, and that is not necessarily the standard that we need to uphold ourselves to. But that is the one that we are confronted with, and my guess is that maybe even somewhat at an unconscious level, when we think about getting fit and healthy, we have a certain ideal in mind that that we someone's building Legos in the house. Maybe you hear some background noise. That we need to tackle and that we need to come to terms with in terms of where we stand realistically and what is actually feasible given the responsibilities, commitments, and demands that we have in life as life is. It's a balancing act, right? It's Saturday. I will usually talk about motivation. So it's also important to see this in light of, what is going to keep us going once we get started on a journey like this. And there's a lot to be said, you know, for having an ideal and for having maybe a goal that we want to strive to, because goals do inform the choices we make. The goal of running a marathon or running a 10K in 45 minutes is going to lead to very different choices in my dietary, training, and recovery regime than if I'm training to deadlift the biggest deadlift I possibly can. It's different nutrition, different training schedule, different time expenditure in the gym, different recovery windows, etc., etc. A different set of techniques that need to be learned. So the goal that we set ourselves will very much inform how we sleep, how we eat, how we move, how we connect with other people, and what we choose as something that we're wanting to master and spend time on. It is all relatively straightforward, but it is something that I don't think we consider from the perspective of all the baggage we've built up over the last 10, 20, or 30, or maybe even 40 years in my case. Hey, Box by myself. I'm doing great. Thanks for dropping by, saying hi. I hope you're doing well as well. And hola back to Costa Rica. How's the video production going? I hope that your channel is getting the traction that you would want. And Jacob, thanks for dropping by and being back. You step out to do a workout, or you take a nap, come back. I hope whatever it was you were doing, that you got to spend enough time on it and finish it off. And I'm glad to have you back here checking out my channel 2 times in one day. I can only say thumbs up, and I hope you're doing well still where you're in the world. I did some work to do with kettlebells. I'll just say AMRAP and 4 swings, 4 snatch. Wow, very good. Sounds like a decent workout. I hope that it's brought you the peace of mind and the joy that my workouts bring me when I do them. So back to keeping it real, right? So I think it's important for us to be honest with ourselves, especially when we hit 40, and to not be delusional. As in, if your goal is a 6-pack and a beach body like the people in the movies and series, by all means go for it. That is a goal that has implications for sleep, for food, for training, for mood, for connections and relationships. Sure, it all does, but if that is the goal that we're after, that is completely valid, and go for it. My goal is longevity. I want to get to 80 and 90 and be fit and capable. Nowhere in that goal do looks play a role. The only reason that I might look in the mirror and be concerned is that I understand that there's a direct relationship between BMI and girth, waist circumference. And if BMI is high and my waist circumference would be expanding, I would see that as an indicator that my health is deteriorating rather than improving. That is about as far as my interest in the way I look goes. Sure, I like to look athletic. Sure, I like to be able to fit in the same clothes that I'm wearing today. But in general, this is about feeling healthy, but more important than feeling healthy, it's about understanding what drives certain health markers for me in terms of my cardiorespiratory health, my muscle strength, my blood work, my body composition, and being focused on how those markers evolve over time, and how we can focus on improving those, and we'll see different kinds of improvements. But a healthy body is a healthy body regardless of how it looks. Ulysses, that is a great name. Cadence is amazing. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And I appreciate you dropping by and saying hi, and letting me know that you're watching. And I appreciate you dropping in and saying hello, and I hope you're well where you're at in the world this morning. It's 7:17 a.m. and one of my kids is up playing with Legos. So we're doing the podcast this morning because I'd said I'm going to do it on Saturdays and Sundays, and I'm going to go up and enjoy some father-son time before breakfast. So we have this challenge with the way we see the world and the way we see ourselves in the world in terms of the ideal that we've been confronted with. We have at any point in our life maybe been lean and fit and strong. I remember where I was when I was 18, 19, doing judo, kickboxing, karate, prime of my life probably in terms of all of the things that I was physically capable of, in a sense, and where we are today. And it's blended into that is years of magazine covers, years of videos, years of social media posts, years of coverage in talk shows, billboards, whatnot, that has informed what we think we maybe should look like, what we think we maybe should eat like, what we think we maybe should sleep like, what we think we maybe should train like to become like that. And we need to reinvent that image for ourselves if we're going to keep it real, because that is what other people want to tell us about what they think we should look like. We need to look at who we are. We need to understand what we are capable of within the constraints, the demands, the responsibilities, the commitments of our lives. And within that framework, within the flow of that life, do the things that are going to keep us healthy and fit. And nowhere in the word health and fit does the word looks appear, right? Nowhere in that, the entire set of things that improve your health markers, things that will get you to have a certain level of cardiorespiratory fitness, of heart health, are you going to find anything that says, oh, by the way, if you look this way, you're pretty sure you're fit and healthy? That's not how it works, okay? That's not the way this is designed to work, yet for some reason that is what we believe sometimes, and that is detrimental to our motivation. Because what happens when we focus on the way we look? We start to work out with the idea that we're going to get a six-pack, we're going to lose all that weight, we're going to build all that muscle, and then after 2 months we look in the mirror, we haven't lost all that weight, maybe we put on a bit of muscle, but we definitely no closer to that six-pack, because it takes tremendous discipline and consistency and sacrifice to bring your body to that level where it looks like someone who could be on the cover of a magazine, right? Some people it comes naturally, but that's why they have those jobs, right? They're promoting themselves like that on social media, or they are on the cover of the magazines because their genetics allow them to look that way. They work hard for it, yeah. But anyone who's ever tried to get to that level of leanness, and that includes me, knows what it takes to get there and how consistent you need to be and how hard you need to work and how disciplined you need to be to get there. And it is not for everyone. And it is also not necessarily back to health and fitness. It is about looks, right? Health and fitness is something very different. Is there certain foods and drinks you eat that support heart health and lung health? Well, it's a good question, BC. Thanks for dropping by and asking the question. I hope you're doing well. Where you're dropping by from. I am not a dietitian. I'm not a doctor. I don't give medical advice. I don't have that much expertise about nutrition. I do take a supplement of omega-3s, and I make sure that I eat fatty fish and flax seeds, and I try to avoid saturated fats. Because in my understanding, having the healthy fats, the unsaturated monopoly, and limiting the saturated and especially trans fats, and having that omega-3 in those fish in the diet should provide a good mix that will keep my cardiovascular system healthier. But that is my layman's understanding, and just following the best practices and guidelines. So I hope that's helpful for you. And there's a ton of information like Rhonda Patrick, Walter Longo, is it Martin Greger, Viva Longevity, Peter Attia. There are a lot of people out there who have better information. What's his name? Lane Norton, who have better information on types of fats and the impact they have. I had Gemini run me a report about fats, trans fats, saturated fats, mono unsaturated, polyunsaturated, and it was an interesting read. So maybe if you ask a chatbot like that to do some research with you, there could also be some information there. But again, be mindful. Just my experience, not any advice, but I hope that helps. Jonathan, thanks for dropping by, buddy. I hope you're doing well. Saturday morning, I hope you and everything at home is a-okay. And I'm about to hit 1250 subscribers. For anyone here, by the way, if you're building a YouTube channel, you want to understand how that works, go check out Jonathan's tips. He's amazing, and he has worked with a lot of big companies on their online strategy. Just keep that in mind. So, keeping it real, back to that topic, all right? Keeping it real. Ja, vind je? Ik kom eraan, oké? 2 minuutjes. Keeping it real means that it's not about looks, it's about health and fitness, and we are going to have to learn to refocus and reimagine what we think we will look like and be like once we get fit and healthy. That's all I have for you today, friends. As you can hear, there's something that I need to do upstairs. I appreciate you dropping by, and remember, we're good just the way we are. We've got to love ourselves before we can move on. It's the person we are today that's going to get us to where we want to be tomorrow. So a bit of kindness is going to go a long way. All right, there are enough people out there who want to put us down, so we're going to lift ourselves up. And Nate Kopka, may I avocado you a question? You can definitely ask me a question, but in the comments, because I have to hop off the stream right now. But if you leave a comment under the stream when it goes live or under another video of on my channel, I'll be sure to get back to you in the comment section of the videos. All right, Nate, thanks for dropping by. And remember, friends, hit like, subscribe if you enjoyed this talk. And the only way to get anything done is by showing up and doing the work. So I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. And don't forget to subscribe.